welcome to this deep dive.
Yeah.
If you are tuning in today, you're someone we affectionately call the learner,
Oh, definitely. The learner.
right? You're here because, well, you crave a really fundamental root-level understanding of the world, but you just don't have the time or the patience to sift through that overwhelming avalanche of daily information.
Yeah, nobody has time for all that noise.
Exactly.
Well,
You're looking for the signal through the noise. So today our mission is to explore this really fascinating essay from July 2024. It's by Zhu Feng, and it's titled "The Powerful Will Not Have a Perfect Ending," which was translated by Kinyu.
and it is a remarkable piece of writing.
It really is. So, okay, let's unpack this, because Zhu Feng presents a premise that aggressively challenges our modern kind of hyper-competitive worldview.
I mean, it turns it completely upside down.
Right. The argument here is that being forceful, dominating your environment, projecting hardness, all of that is actually a guaranteed recipe for systemic collapse.
Yeah, and the flip side of that is that, true, enduring strength is actually found in being soft. Which, I mean, what's fascinating here is how Xu Feng anchors this entire perspective in the observations of the ancient philosopher Laozi.
Oh, right. Thousands of years ago.
Exactly. Laozi recognized this exact dynamic. He wrote, nothing in the world is softer and weaker than water. Yet for attacking the hard and strong, nothing can surpass it.
Nothing can surpass water. It's such a striking image.
It is. And the essay points out this really fascinating paradox because, everyone theoretically acknowledges that water wears away rock, right? That the soft overcomes the hard.
Yeah, we all know the concept.
Right. But practically no one actually has the courage to live their life that way. And Xu Feng wants us to understand that this isn't just a piece of pleasant ancient poetry to put on a motivational poster.
Yeah, some nice philosophy to just quote on social media.
Exactly. This is a brutal, literal rule of survival.
And the essay moves straight from that philosophical premise of water directly into, well, undeniable historical proof.
Yeah, it doesn't hold back.
No, it doesn't. Because if softness ultimately wins out, we have to look at what happens to the ultimate examples of hardness. The people who refuse to bend to anyone or anything.
Right. And Xu Feng leans on another really stark observation from Laozi here, which is the strong and violent will not die a natural death.
Wow. That is a heavy claim.
It is, but the author applies this principle to macro-level dominance, stating plainly that excessively domineering behavior is actually a leading indicator of a catastrophic fate.
And to back this up, Xu Feng provides a very specific list of historical data points, figures who achieve the absolute pinnacle of forceful, unyielding dominance.
Yes, the essay lists Hitler, Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi, Ceausescu, and Stalin.
Right. And looking at these historical figures strictly through the lens of the essay's thesis, they all share an identical trajectory.
They really do. They applied immense unyielding force to their populations, to their governments, and their borders.
And their reigns ended in spectacular, unnatural destruction.
Exactly. They are basically the ultimate test cases for what we could call the dictator principle. You see, they attempted to impose absolute rigidity on incredibly complex, dynamic societies.
But rigidity lacks resilience. I mean, it makes me think of a real-world analogy. Think of a giant, rigid oak tree in the middle of a hurricane.
Oh, that's a perfect comparison.
Right. The oak tree tries to dominate the wind. It stands completely firm, and because it can't yield, it just snaps.
It shatters.
Yes. But right next to it, a blade of grass just bends to the ground. The wind passes over it, and the grass survives.
The grass absorbs the stress. When you build a system that cannot bend, like those leaders did, you're building a system that cannot absorb stress. The pressure builds, and because the structure refuses to yield, the eventual breaking point isn't some gradual decline.
It's a violent snapping, like the oak tree.
Exactly, violent shattering.
So the macro-level examples are very clear. But Xu Feng makes a crucial pivot in the essay here. Because, obviously, we aren't all dictators, right? Most of us aren't running countries. So how does this apply to us? This naturally leads to the essay's exploration of interpersonal dominance, the tragedy of the everyday tyrant.
Yeah, the destruction doesn't just vanish because the scale is smaller. In fact, Xu Feng details a really grim domino effect that happens when someone acts forcefully within their own family.
Let's get into those specific roles, because the text is very clear about the consequences.
It is. The essay notes that if a father is heavily domineering, it causes his children and grandchildren to suffer, often resulting in actual family tragedies over the long run.
Like a vacuum of agency, he sucks all the air out of the room.
Exactly. And then there is the role of the mother. The text argues that an excessively domineering mother causes her children to become depressed. Their spirits are wounded, and even their physical health is compromised.
Their spirits are wounded. That is such a vivid way to describe it.
It's because the child is never allowed the space to develop their own resilience. And then the other shifts to the dynamic between spouses.
Right. It states that a domineering husband guarantees that his wife will endure unspeakable suffering throughout her life.
Just a constant burden of suppression. And conversely, if a wife is domineering, her husband will live a life of unfulfilled aspirations.
And die with regrets.
Yeah.
It's incredibly sad. But the social ripples expand way beyond just the nuclear family, right?
Oh, absolutely. The text makes assertions about the broader world, too. A domineering neighbor doesn't create a secure neighborhood. They just broadcast discomfort to everyone on the street.
Everyone feels it. And a domineering colleague.
They spark constant disputes and conflicts. And domineering leaders create submissive subordinates who eventually face severe repercussions. Even on a geopolitical scale, a domineering neighboring country results in constant threats and invasions.
Okay, but wait. I have to play devil's advocate for a second here.
Go for it.
Doesn't society tell us that leaders kind of need to be a bit domineering to actually get things done? I mean, look at corporate culture. We're taught you have to be forceful to drive results.
It's the most common pushback to this philosophy. But Shuifeng would counter that by looking at the actual timeline of that forcefulness.
Dominance creates temporary submission, yes.
Like people comply because they're afraid.
Right. But it creates long-term repercussions and immense suffering. You might hit this quarter's numbers by terrifying your team, but beneath the surface, resentment and burnout are compounding.
You're just building a pressure cooker.
Exactly. To understand why this interpersonal dominance fails so predictably, we actually have to look at the mechanics of the universe itself.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting.
It does. The essay uses an ancient system to explain the physics of harmony. It introduces the concept of the 5 elements.
Metal, wood, water, fire, and earth.
That's right. And the text asserts that these elements mutually generate and mutually restrain each other to achieve harmony.
So they operate in this continuous, balanced loop.
Yes. Water nourishes wood, wood feeds fire, fire creates earth as ash, and so on. But they also restrain each other so nothing grows out of control. Water puts out fire.
Metal chops wood. I see. And Shuifeng's core mechanism of failure here is that the flourishing of all things relies on this mutual coexistence.
So if one side becomes dominant, like if fire just decides it wants to take over everything, it causes the others to wither.
Precisely. If fire burns as hot as it can, it consumes all the wood. But once the wood is gone, the fire has nothing left to burn.
So it starves.
Exactly. The ultimate consequence outlined in the text is that eventually the dominant side is left entirely unsupported.
Which directly causes its own downfall.
It guarantees its own destruction.
So what does this all mean? If the universe literally punishes dominance and it ruins our relationships, why do people act forcefully in the first place?
That is the core question. We have to look inward at the psychology of the domineering person. The essay takes a dialectical perspective here.
Unmasking that idea of strength.
Yes, because forcefulness is actually a symptom of a profound lack of self-confidence and inner weakness.
Wait, really? It's a symptom of weakness?
Entirely. Forceful people are merely trying to cover up their internal frailty with strong words and aggressive actions. It's a facade.
Like a small animal puffing itself up to look bigger because it's terrified.
That's exactly what it is. In contrast, the text reveals that those with true inner strength are gentle and approachable. They don't need to force anyone to submit because they are secure.
That reframes everything. The loud, screaming boss isn't strong. They're broadcasting their fragility.
And being forceful like that only exhausts a person mentally and physically. It takes so much energy to maintain that armor.
So, now that we know forcefulness is just a mask for weakness, how do we actively choose to be soft in our own lives?
The essay provides some highly actionable advice for practicing softness in a hard world, starting with guidance for the home.
Let's break down those specific instructions for the listener, because they're incredibly practical.
For fathers, the instruction is to inspire, but don't take over. Let your kids have their own thoughts.
Don't suppress them under the guise of fatherhood.
Right, and for mothers, provide love and nourishment, but avoid excessive criticism or making decisions for the children.
You have to let them practice making their own choices. What about spouses?
This is one of my favorite parts of the essay. For spouses, the advice is to give your partner maximum space. And Shifeng highlights this humorous but profound truth about human
Oh,
relationships.
I love this part.
He says that no matter how unreasonable you think your partner is, human relationships are a tangled mess.
A tangled mess that the ancients couldn't untangle, we can't untangle today, and future generations won't untangle either.
Exactly. So stop trying to force it. Stop trying to pull the knot apart.
Just yield. Give them space. But, practically speaking, what is our defensive mantra here? How does the listener deal with a domineering person out in the world without becoming forceful themselves?
The essay shares a beautiful poetic coping strategy for this. It says, "Let him be strong, the breeze brushes the hill. Let him be fierce, the moon shines over the river."
Let him be strong, the breeze brushes the hill. Let him be fierce, the moon shines over the river. That imagery is just incredible.
It's the ultimate strategy of psychological Aikido.
It really is. I mean, think about it. The breeze doesn't stop and try to fight the hill. It doesn't engage in a wrestling match with an immovable object. It just brushes past it.
And the hill is unaffected, but the breeze continues on its path entirely unharmed.
And the moon doesn't plunge down to fight the turbulent river. It simply exists above it, unaffected by the chaos. It reflects its calm light regardless of how fierce the water is.
That is your blueprint. You don't absorb their force and you don't push back. You just yield and let them exhaust their energy against your calm detachment.
If we connect this to the bigger picture,
The ultimate takeaway is that forceful individuals harm those around them, and by doing so, they guarantee their own endings will not be perfect. True power really does lie in the gentleness of water and the quiet confidence of inner strength.
thank you for taking this deep dive with us today. It really is a radical shift in perspective. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to kind of mull over on your own.
It's a great question to ask ourselves.
Yeah, because if true, lasting strength is gentle, accommodating, and flows like water. How much of our modern hustle culture, with its endless focus on crushing the competition and dominating the boardroom, is actually just a mass-scale training program in profound inner weakness?
Are we cultivating real strength or just a society of brittle oak trees?
Exactly. Something to think about the next time you feel the urge to force an outcome. Until next time, let the breeze brush the hill today.